Another point that came out while I was having a conversation with Rama, that when Jaya Jetli committee was formed with the intention to, like I said, to look at MMR, which is maternal mortality rate, and IMR and women's nutrition. But when we are assessing gender empowerment and equality, and when we are looking and when we are saying, okay, we want to better women's health, why are we always looking at why are we always reducing them to their reproductive capabilities? Why are we only thinking of women in relation to their reproductive capabilities? So in that light, if not maternal mortality rate and infant mortality rate, what are some of the indicators this panel would recommend to gauge gender empowerment in society? Is there a raised hand? Yeah, Divya.
So for me, and completely sort of subscribing to that viewpoint, absolutely, it's it's all become about little bit about seems to be about population control and control over women's bodies, and even that, as Rama very rightly pointed out, is not factually, the data doesn't support that. But other indicators, extremely important indicators, need to be around. We currently have one of the lowest participation of women in the formal workforce. It's something like, and it's been declining. So even educated women in urban areas are, choosing to sort of give up work. And again, in COVID, women are choosing to give up in favor of men, because men have also lost jobs, and the whole norm around, men should be the primary breadwinner, etc. And this is something that young people clearly said. They said it's not just education. We are looking for education to lead to safe and decent employment opportunities. So I think that is a very important indicator. And the other will definitely be around, the gender-based violence indicators, right from, at birth sex ratio to, actual instances of violence. We see horrific stories every single day in the newspaper. You don't even need to have all the data. It's so prevalent, and it's across urban, rural, wherever. The more horrific ones make it to national media, but it's happening every single day, every single minute. And I think those kind of data really need to be looked at much more carefully. And of course, there's, around access to digital media, access to bank accounts, all of those come. But for me, those are two which are like really sort of key ones that I would like to see talked more about. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I'm unable to raise my hand for some reason. So I'm just taking the liberty. Very briefly, I think we can definitely look at indices on agency by virtue of participation. Divya spoke about workforce and participation in or civic participation, participation in community affairs, participation in public spaces. I mean, we are a country where we have, our parliament has not really thought about increasing the women's representation to 50%. What are we really talking about? There is such a big barrier against that, So I think these are topmost topics that need to be talked about. And as we have been saying repeatedly, anything to do with maternal mortality or levels of anemia, etc., will not be impacted positively by definitely not by raising the age to 21. And Akanksha, on your point on which we talked about, just yesterday, one of my colleagues said, what is celebrated is available. So motherhood is celebrated in the country. So you have national level indices or indicators around maternal mortality, around infant mortality. We do not have enough data that is being captured related to adolescent girls. Just look at the data for NFHS or all the National Family Health Survey. We do not have enough data on indices related to the age of adolescents. We need more of that. Someone has, Dr. Rishabh has talked about the Rashtriya Kishore Swasthya Karyakram. It's a beautiful program, very sound on paper, drafted in 2014. It has been 7 to 8 years now. It is largely unimplemented. So I think if we really want change, we will need to go back to the drawing board and talk about gender-informed policies.
Tanvi, anything that you want to share?
Yeah, there's just one critical indicator I think that I want to add here is this drop in school attendance after class 8. We need to really track how many girls are entering into high schools. If that indicator shows up, we are definitely on the right track, and that really needs to be tracked.
Doesn't the gross enrollment ratio kind of also factor in how many girls, moved from senior secondary to secondary or to high school?
Yeah, right. But besides enrollment, the attendance also is very important, and we really need to keep an eye on it because everybody is enrolled, but they're not attending school.
Right. Yeah. Chandana, any recommendations that you have?
I think just to add to what everybody said, I would say, indices on mobility, the mobility of the young girls, whether it is they are being mobile, going to the market to buy something, going to somebody's place, meeting friends, going to the nearby universities. So that brings a big attributes on empowerment. So that needs to be included.
Right.